You're watching the SCAC Player of the Week interviews. It's week 4 of the SCAC Spring Men's Tennis season, and today we're joined by the SCAC Player of the Week, Senior Cameron Krimbill of the Trinity University Tigers. And Cameron, congratulations and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Cameron, you and the rest of your Tiger teammates coming off a huge weekend this past week at the Indoor Nationals. The team went 1-2, picking up a solid, important win over number 7 Brandeis 5-4, and then falling to a pair of top 3 teams in Case Western and WashU. Just sort of give me your biggest takeaways from a team perspective this past weekend. I'm sure you would have wanted some matches maybe to go a different way, but I'm sure also a great learning experience for this group and kind of sort of a yardstick to where this team is at. What was the biggest takeaway from the weekend?
Yeah, obviously would have liked to have won a couple more matches, but I mean, the biggest takeaway I felt like for this weekend was that we can compete at the national level with these teams. I mean, playing the likes of WashU and Case Western, they're both fantastic teams along with Brandeis, and so being able to get the win against Brandeis was definitely something that helps us to see where we're at and where we can improve, but definitely took away an important aspect of the weekend and knowing that we can still compete at that national level with those top teams.
Individually, you continue your undefeated streak in the 2022 portion of the schedule, picking up a win at the top singles line in that first win over Brandeis, straight set win 6-4, excuse me, and then a win in the second match against Case Western and going into the tiebreaker. Some outstanding tennis from you individually. Just take me through your performance and especially that second win when it comes down point to point. How do you mentally stay focused in those tight moments?
Yeah, I mean, going into a tournament like this with teams that are so good, you just have to go in knowing that you're going to play very tough opponents and you're going to have to compete very hard. The Brandeis player that I played was an amazing player. I really had to make sure I didn't let up in any way and really had to fight for everything. But same with the Case kid. He is a phenomenal player. One of the best in Division III, as evidenced by his ranking nationally. And so when you're playing players like that, there's really no let up at all. You have to just really play it, as you mentioned, point by point, and know that every shot you hit has to be intentional and with a purpose, or else you can lose the match. And that was most evidenced by me winning by only 2 points. That's what separated us at the end of the day. And so playing him again, it would be the same thing, but definitely just when you go point for point, just you have to make sure that everything matters.
I want to go back and ask specifically about that win over Brandeis. Very tight 5-4 victory to open up Indoor Nationals for this group. In those tight matches, as the courts begin to dwindle and matches become final and the team points become ever important, and you get down to that final match, what is that atmosphere like? I'm sure you've been in the scenario where it's come down to 4-4 in your singles match is the point that clinches it one way or the other. This time you were a supportive teammate and cheering some guys on. What are those moments like? How much fun are those are they to be a part of?
Yeah, I mean, whether you're the last player playing or the one supporting, those are the moments that I live for. That's what makes tennis, especially college tennis, so exhilarating is those times when it comes down to a single match. And especially against Brandeis, I mean, we were down 1-2 going into singles, and so we knew we'd have to have quite a pretty good performance in singles to take 4 of the 6. And so, as you mentioned, just like as matches were coming off, I mean, before I won my match, it was 2-4. And so at that point, you're looking at the 3 singles matches and you're like, okay, we got to win all of these or else we're going to lose. And so definitely as the courts shrink down, nerves start to get a little bit higher, but definitely helps to have your teammates on the side, just having all the confidence in the world in you. And then when you're the one supporting, you just have to really show the person that's playing that we have all the belief in you and you can get the win.
I'm interested as the top line singles player for this team. I would imagine at times that there's sort of some mental gymnastics maybe that you have to play. You want the team to have success, but knowing that individually, you still have so much to play for and competing for, ultimately, hopefully for you, an individual national championship. How do you kind of balance that? How do you sort of celebrate those moments for you that are obviously successful individually, maybe when it's a more difficult day from an overall team perspective?
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a mental balance that you have to have because it's like I mentioned, you play the best player from these teams, and a lot of times they're very good players. And so you have to make sure that you're balancing supporting teammates, but also making sure that you're getting your win at line one. And so there's definitely a balancing act that has to be done. I've been lucky enough, this is my second year of playing number one. And so over time you kind of get more used to it, but definitely still is there and present whenever you're playing these players that are high level, but you still got to support your teammates to try to get the team win overall. So, but it's definitely a lot of fun. I've enjoyed the balancing act per se, and I look forward to it, honestly.
And finally, Cameron, to wrap things up, you and the rest of your teammates back in action this weekend as you head up to Colorado to face a familiar opponent, SCAC foe, Colorado College. Just your excitement to get back out on the court this weekend. What will be key for this team to regroup, and how important is it to have a good showing against another conference opponent?
Yeah, especially when you get to conference play, it means a little bit more. You want to make sure that at the end of the day that you take every match very seriously, and especially when you play a conference opponent. Going on the road, I mean, it's one thing when you have to travel as far as a plane ride to get to Colorado. That's another thing, but we're all really excited. I think we'll have a great match. They're a good team. They have a good 1 through 6, and so we're really looking forward to it, and we're expecting a tough match, and especially on their home courts, we think it will be a lot of fun. So we're excited for it.
A native of Phoenix, Arizona, this week's SCAC Men's Tennis Singles Player of the Week, Senior Cameron Krimbill of the Trinity University Tigers. Cameron, again, congratulations on your honor and best of luck as you continue to march forward throughout your senior season.
Thank you.